Cybertron, after all these years, I'm sorry, I have to get home. Quote, Jetfire. Two enemies from opposite sides of a galactic war find themselves stranded together on a desolate world and discover a shocking secret that changes everything they know. Void Rivals, Issue 1, Energon Universe. The Agorrian Darak crash lands on a remote planetoid. Unconscious, his handroid glove takes control of his body, dragging him to a nearby medpack and using a reviver to awake him. When Darak asks where they are, the handroid reports that following the battle with Zertonian ship that shot down each ship was caught in a gravitational pull of a comet. Darak was slingshotted into an uncharted region of space far away from the sacred ring. Darak examines the wreckage of his ship, deeming it unlikely he'd be able to get it flying again, only to be attacked by the aforementioned Zertonian Solila. The Agorrian and the Zertonian have been at war for centuries. Now, Darak and Solila are flying up to fight each other like their ancestors did behind the crashed ship of Darak. Darak aims his blaster at the Zertonian. It does not work. The handroid says that by hitting it, he may also damage it. Solila spears Darak, but when Darak is on the floor, he knees Solila in the face. As the battle intensifies, they go down a rock slide, trading punches. Both of them are warriors. Both are soldiers. Both have fought before. Solila has the top position going down the rock slide, but suddenly, from the falling from one rock to another, Solila takes a very bad landing as Darak picks up a rock. As Darak is ready to hit Solila on the head with the rock, Solila please, Darak, spare me. Darak responds, are you begging me to spare you? Would any of your people ever spare my kind? Well, would they? Solila says, probably not. Darak drops the rock. As the rock hits the ground, Darak says, an honest Zertonian. What are the odds of that? He ultimately decides to spare her, reasoning that if the two work together, they can repair one of their ships and return to the sacred ring. The pair begin to make repairs to Solila's cruiser, stripping the remains of Darak's for spare parts. Solila notes how little modification is needed for the parts to be integrated, something Darak attributes to Zertonian spies stealing Agorrian tech. However, during the process, Solila attaches the wrong cable to the energy source, causing the ship to explode. Darak saves her life, and she returns the favor by putting out the fire on his jacket. Believing their situation hopeless, Solila leaves, refusing to die with an Agorrian. After several hours of sulking, Darak decides to once again try salvaging Zertonian craft, only for Solila to return, having found what appears to be a crashed spaceship buried in a nearby valley. Handroid confirms that it is neither Agorrian nor Zertonian in origin, and Darak speculates it may have been buried for thousands of years. The two use their energy cores to try and activate the ship. As soon as they do, parts of the ship begin to move and shift. The two stare in awe as it converts before their eyes into a giant robot. The Cybertronian scientist, Jetfire. Jetfire tells the two that he means them no harm, and he inquires on as how too long he's been offline, which neither the soldiers can answer. Upon examining himself, Jetfire concludes that he must have been buried for millions of years and must return to Cybertron. He apologizes to the two as he transforms back to jet mode and flies into space, leaving them behind. With their one hope of getting off the planet gone, Solila begins to sulk, but Jetfire transformation has given Darak an idea, using components of each of their flight armors to convert their wreckage into a spacecraft. Solila refuses, as taking off their helmets violates each other's people's sacred decrees, but Darak counters that it's better than dying. The pair remove their helmet, revealing them to be part of the same race. Darak is stunned. This is just like his vision. A confused Solila asks what vision he's referring to. Notes: Void Rivals gives us our first glimpse at the brand new Energon Universe from Skybound. However, much of the status quo of this new universe is left in the dark, so as not to give away the surprise. That said, one major clue can be gleaned. Jetfire appears to feature no insignia on his body, Autobot, Decepticon, or otherwise. As it revealed later, Jetfire left Cybertron long before war broke out and thus remains unaware. Factional split, something which will have a serious consequence later. It's Jetfire. The Cybertronian scientist makes a quick cameo in this issue as part of the surprise reveal of the Energon Universe. His being woke up after millions of years of sleep and with no visible faction logo echoes the character's introduction to Generation 1 cartoon episode Fire in the Sky. His design is also that of his Generation 1 cartoon counterpart. While it's never outright stated, the implication is that the fuel used for the Zertonian ship and to revive Jetfire is Energon. However, it is notably colored yellow as opposed to the more common pink or blue. Void Rival's status as the launch for the Energon Universe was kept a secret for almost the entirety of the comic's promotion, with Skybound only revealing its existence to retailers just before the first issue's FOC date. It would ultimately be leaked by Bleeding Cool 5 days before this issue's publication. The copyright notices for the book placed on page 27 with a text epilogue by Kirkman away from the rest of its indicia on page 1 reads, Void Rivals and all related characters and trademarks of Hasbro and are used with the permission of copyright 2023 Hasbro licensed by Hasbro and sports the Hasbro logo. Next issue, Void Rivals, issue 2.